are you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you? How's your Sunday?
Good so far. So tell me more about your activity throughout life. You know, you've been active. I heard it seems like you've been active most of your life, right?
Very active.
Yeah.
And yeah, starting out as a young kid, playing hockey my whole life through high school and college, and getting banged around, and being a skier and a surfer, and you know, a lot of contact stuff.
Yes.
And yeah, and you know, never thought that I was probably thought I was immortal and that I wasn't gonna get old, and that things were gonna start breaking down, and you know, just kept at it, and ultimately became a triathlete in the late 80s, and had maybe a 12 or a 13-year triathlon career.
Wow.
Was at the top of my game,
and you joined Ironman, right?
multiple Ironmans across the globe.
Yes.
And racing, you know, in probably half the states in our country, at various distances, and that all kind of came. And I did all the things, not Pilates, but other forms of maintenance to kind of stay fresh and keep my muscles stretched and massaged. But I was young.
Yeah.
So, you know, you really don't, there aren't too many aches and pains, you know, from your mid-20s to your late 30s. And then it all kind of came to a crashing, literally halt in 2001 when I was hit by an SUV on my bike. And I broke my neck and fractured my hip and dislocated my shoulder, was in a coma for 3 or 4 days. And
how did that happen?
well, yeah, somebody just crossed over the double yellow line of a 2-lane road, and just was essentially daydreaming at the wheel. And I basically got hit kind of almost head on. It kind of was on an angle, went through the windshield, and she stopped and launched me out onto the pavement. But in the end, you know, I don't think I really thought about, you know, what my life would be 10 years later after that accident. So, yeah, I mean, it was game changing. And so ultimately,
did you stop biking?
I did. I did. I was, well, I think, you know, that was like concussion number 3 or 4, but this was obviously a really bad one because it knocked me unconscious for 3 days. And I had a broken neck. So it was a combination of being scared to get back on a bike, kind of thinking I was lucky and maybe that the time was right to not get back on a bike. And I had equilibrium problems. I think I was having trouble with balance and things like that. So, you know, I really just turned to other activities. It took a long time to get into other activities. I kind of just went to the gym and was just a regular workout kind of guy. And I'm a skier, so I skied, and you know, I just kept up with some of the other activities that I like to do and stay active.
How did you discover Pilates?
Well, I'd like to first say that I'm glad I did, because it's a game changer, and it just is and you and I have had lots of talks about the benefits of Pilates and how our bodies change as we get older, and the things that are important to maintain. And Pilates, I think, is that perfect combination. I was actually, what led me to Pilates was I was involved in a wakeboarding accident. I was skiing behind a boat. I had a terrible accident. I was 48 years old, so about 10 years ago. I'd never been operated on in my life. So I kind of had this feeling of this little sense of immortality, that you know, I could keep going and take these crashes and these falls, and that my bones weren't getting any older and my muscles weren't getting any older, but they were. They were. And I just, it just, the straw that breaks the camel's back just hadn't broken yet. And so I had this crash. I ended up having an operation on my knee, my back, my arm, and my neck, and had a fusion. And now my body started to ache and my body started to hurt, and I was looking for alternatives, and I started doing Pilates. I'm from Chicago, and I found an instructor who I think was decent, and we worked together and I knew Pilates was just an absolute perfect way to take care of your body, especially whether you're young or old, but particularly as an older person, because it seemed like to me it was that combination of kind of physical therapy, which I had been through from these accidents. I had never had physical therapy. It was yoga, because there's a stretching component to Pilates. There's a resistance component, so you're lifting weights, you're using your body is the resistance. And it just was great. And so I really felt attached to it, and it changed my life. It literally has changed my life. And my wife and I moved out to Arizona about 1.5 years ago, and I found you. Thank God.
How did you find me? Someone recommended you?
No, I didn't. I found you on the internet. I literally was not, nobody gave me any recommendations. I did a little due diligence on my own. I determined that, you seemed like the right guy, and I was right. Not right about too many things. And the difference it's been game changing with you, and it's been a pleasure to know you as a person, but as a Pilates person and as my trainer. What the difference between what I was doing, which was Pilates and was great, and what I'm doing with you, is I think that your expertise in really finding and crafting specific workouts based on each person's, at least with me, individual need. This person has that injury, and the other person needs something else. You've taken an accounting of everything that's happened to me, and it seems like you craft the workouts. Now those workouts are harder than they've ever been with anybody else, because I think whenever you work in areas that you're weak, we all want to work in the areas that we're strong.
That's right.
My son never wanted to do math because he wasn't good at it, and I said, you should do math more because you're not good at it. And I think you have got me going into areas that I never went into, and I talked my other instructor out of, or we just didn't do it because if you're weak in an area, you tend to not want to do it. When you're weak in an area is when you really need to exploit it. Exploit the weaknesses, nurture the strengths.
That's why you're saying I'm always exploiting you.
You exploit me. You've made me. But you always, when I leave here, and I've told friends, and I call my wife constantly. In fact, I'm just here back in Arizona for 10 or 12 days here in October by myself, and I called her after our first get together, which was a couple days ago, and we hadn't seen each other since late May or early June. I'm like, as soon as I saw you and left, my spirit is better, my body feels better, my whole existence is better. I mean, it's not just, this is not just me selling you. This is a real facts. Because if it wasn't, I wouldn't be sitting here advocating Pilates. The studio is great. You changed my life. You're changing my life. Pilates changed my life from the beginning. But now I think with you, we've taken it to another level.
Awesome.
And I feel great.
Thank you.
And I'm old. I know I don't look. I know I look great. I do. Thank you. But it's all, I'm 57 years old, and I really feel when I'm with you that we can continue. I can continue the activities that I love to do. I'm back. By the way, I'm back on the bike.
Awesome.
I got back on a bike about 12 years after the accident. I think I'm a better biker than I ever was as a triathlete, because my strengths were swimming and running. I find since I've done Pilates, I'm a better skier because core strength. I had hip surgery, so the surgeries I had as a result of that wakeboarding accident didn't include a hip surgery, which just happened to be the perfect storm. My hip went out when it went out, and I didn't realize how much work is involved in building those muscles back. You have focused on that. We've worked on that. It's painful, but I feel like I'm a better skier. I'm a better biker. I'm a better hiker. Everything in my life, and I'm 57, and I feel like we can keep getting better, right?
Yes.
And can we play? And I assume you do this with all your customers and clients. that become your friends,
Yeah.
is like you care. Because it's not like I come in for the hour and you forget about me. It's like there's a video, there's a YouTube, there's something about dieting that you send. You're always on my bulletin board. You're always on the phone. You're always kind of giving me something to look at, something to work on. That's important because I didn't know a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
So you've been helpful in a lifestyle. So I would consider you like a lifestyle coach to some extent as well. And maybe you could save my marriage. My marriage is fine.
Maybe you can save my
No, right. We work with each other. But I'm going to come in and do some meditation with you because I think that it sounds like that could be an area that my wife and I can share your expertise, and I look forward to that too. And for those of you who are considering Pilates, I can tell you that has changed my entire life, and that Steve is good a Pilates and lifestyle person that you could ever have. And I am experienced because prior to coming to you, I've had 400 Pilates private lessons from a variety of different people. None of them terrible, but nobody at your level.
Yeah. But thank you for joining us in our blog.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Maybe
can I do it again sometime?
Yes. You have a lot of stories.
I do have a lot of stories.
Thanks,
nice to see you.
Appreciate it.